Welcome to the channel. My name's HADJI. You're watching the HADJI Chronicles. I wanted to pose the question, did school actually prepare me for success? Well, let me first preface that I'm not yet where I want to be as a business owner. There's still a lot of room for growth, and I don't think I've climaxed or reached that pinnacle just yet. So formal education laid the foundation, but it was real-world experiences that developed my skills and my mindset. I graduated as an electrical engineer and pursued that career. Ended up in IT for over 15 years working with Fortune 100 companies. Climbed that corporate ladder quickly. I was a great technician, but I was an even greater leader with my team. What they didn't teach me in formal education was the ability to communicate ideas between different walks of life. I had to communicate with the C-suite executives, to my peers, to the lowest rung of the ladder. So I was thrust into a position that forced me to adapt and learn. And it took me a while before I felt comfortable doing it. But it was that environment that created the necessity out of having to learn those new skill sets. Something that I carried with me when pivoting careers were these intangibles. Although I wasn't using calculus or thermodynamics or linear control systems, it was these relationship building, community generating, communications enhancing skills that translated well into the space that I am in now, which is video productions. I took on a mentorship role to a summer program for middle school gifted students, and one of the dopest questions that one of the students had asked me was,
you went to school, and then you didn't want to be an engineer after you said that you wanted to go do this because it felt more better and you actually liked it. Do you ever feel like you waste your time going to school to be an engineer?
Yes, sir. And this was coming from a 10-year-old, 11-year-old. I was like, yo, you were asking some really, really good questions. It was thought-provoking, and I appreciated that from him. And I told him that no, I was grateful for the time that I spent learning to become an engineer, as well as being an engineer. Being able to discern complex ideas and complex problems and synthesize them and communicate them to people. It was those kinds of things that I was able to translate into the next industry. And I don't think those kind of skill sets die. The true skills that we as human beings should learn: entrepreneurship, finances, and relationships, networking. So those things I carried on with me. The thing about traditional education is that it was a path that was laid before me from the idea of someone else. It wasn't my own idea. It was based off of a cultural and social norm. However, when I jumped into entrepreneurship, that was something that was solely created based out of my own passion and my own longing to solve a certain problem. Traditional education is great as a foundation, but it's the real world experiences that enhance that. While it's important to have a degree, I don't think it's necessary, especially in the space of video production, marketing, or business. What lies in those industries, and what, in my opinion, these industries are looking for, are people who are capable. If you're able to do something well, be efficient at it, and are a good team player, I could care less if you had a degree. I could care less if you went to film school. I could care less if you have a huge network of other filmmakers. All I want to know is, now, if you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer, anybody that requires a high level of education, then yes, I would expect you to have a degree. Matter of fact, I don't want to go to a doctor that just learned how to perform open heart surgery because he watched a YouTube video. Nah, I want somebody with the credentials. So those are important, but we're moving further and further and further away from requiring a degree for somebody to be able to do a job well. Skills are now accessible by the tools and resources that we have available. There's online courses, there's mentorships, there's coaching. I take pride in being self-taught. Don't worry about shelling out a lot of dollars on an educational system that could ultimately be replaced by your passion and will to create your own curriculum. That's what entrepreneurship is. It's being able to design a solution based on limited data and being able to make it work. So go forth and dominate. Don't worry about that degree. If you seek knowledge, go get it. I love podcasts. I love reading books. I take online classes. I seek mentors.
I love this stuff, man. It burns at 400, what is that book? Fahrenheit 451. These things burn at 451 degrees, but if you can't burn them, consume them. What I love about books is you can learn at your own pace. And I diversify my books. It's not always about film. It's not always about my industry. I love Star Wars, so I'm reading Thrawn right now.
Those things could help facilitate an education that they could not provide you in a classroom setting. The most important thing, however, though, is when you're seeking out education is designing an accountability group around that. Because yes, it's good to be self-taught, but then it's better to be self-taught with people around you that can help facilitate and accelerate your growth. Whether it's a peer or it's a mentor, a coach, or somebody in the space that is perhaps better than you. Like seeking those kinds of people out as you're trying to learn something new is going to help accelerate you with that knowledge until they have like the whole matrix get jacked in and all of a sudden you know Kung Fu. But until then, those are my recommendations for education without the classroom setting. If I was going to give advice to my younger self about education, it would be to pursue the things that you are most interested about. And unfortunately, when you are taking the path of the traditional educational system, it's clearly defined your parameters, what your curriculums are. And unfortunately, there's a lot of wasted effort in there. In doing so, you're wasting the child's time and talent on things that aren't necessary or required for their development. And unfortunately, and this is my hot take on the traditional educational system, is that there's a lot of unnecessary fat that needs to be trimmed. If you truly want the child to advance and help them grow into a very successful human being, let them pursue what they're most passionate about, even if it leads to a pivot. Because by empowering the child to pursuing what they truly want, sky's the limit at that point. Stick with what you're most passionate about. If it's arts, follow that. If it's science and engineering, go for it. But ultimately, it needs to be what you want, not what they want. And that's what I was doing. I was fulfilling what they wanted and not what I wanted. And so I don't regret it, because again, it shaped me to who I am today. And I am eternally grateful for all of the experiences that that journey gave me. So, did education lead to my success? Well, we'll wait and see. Peace.